Good afternoon and welcome to another pre-market review session with the Market Trader. My name is Ray, the Market Trader. And before we get started, we'll need to go through our obligatory risk disclosure. Okay, so I just want to remind everyone that the content that's being published and distributed by the Market Trader is to be used and treated as general information only. None of the information provided by the company or contained herein is intended as investment advice and offer to buy, sell, recommend, endorse, sponsor any future company or fund. We all understand that the use of this information is to be used at your own risk, and the company, its partners, representatives, agents, employees, contractors assume no responsibility or liability for any misuse or use of such information. Future trading does carry a fair amount of risk. It's not for every investor. An investor could potentially lose all or more of their investment capital. Only risk capital that we can otherwise afford to lose should be used for trading, and only those individuals with sufficient risk capital should consider trading. Again, nothing contained herein is a solicitation or an offer to buy, sell futures, options, or forex, and past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. All right, so now that we've gotten through the risk disclosure, we're going to go ahead and turn our attention to the news portal and see what news we have in store that could potentially impact the markets. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so let's just give maybe a couple of seconds here for it to display, hopefully to everyone. All right, so highlight, I would say, of today's, as far as news goes, morning, Dirk. Hopefully you can see my screen. Highlight of today is probably the U.S. S&P Services PMI final that is going to be published here at 9:45 this morning. Okay, and then we have a number of both Fed members as well as some speaking engagements from President Trump that always has the, there's always the potential of impacting the markets. Okay. So otherwise, as we kind of head into the week, we can see that there's more news in store as we progress. Employment numbers, job openings, factory orders are coming our way, and then we have some jobless claims, trade balances information, continued jobless claims, and then we close out the week with non-farm payroll and unemployment rates. Okay, so all these news events have the impact or have the potential of impacting the markets. All right, so now that we have kind of a better idea of kind of what news that we have coming our way, we'll go ahead and turn now our attention to the trading platform and see what kind of contacts that we can kind of pull from the markets here. And again, let's see. I just want to make sure that it is indeed visible to everyone. All right, so kind of looking at the market that we normally start with, the gold market. Okay, awesome. Thank you, Marie. All right, so taking a look at the gold here, we're going to forego the weekly and the monthly. That's usually something that we do on a start of the week. So we're just going to focus our attention, at least initially, here with the daily chart. Okay, so looking at the daily chart and seeing kind of what kind of context, what kind of structure, what kind of price structure are we currently developing? Okay, so I'm going to turn off some of these levels here for now. Okay, just to kind of get a sense of what the market is trying to tell us here. Okay, so again, you can see right? Up until this recent candle that we got last week prior to the new year, we were in a very healthy trend to the upside. And over the last few days, right, we created a little bit of a gap. You can see. All right, perfect. All right, guys. So, as I was saying, guys, apologize again. Looks like some of my Discord gremlins have made it into YouTube. But in any case, guys, so what I was about to say here, I was about to do a little bit of a fixed range volume profile analysis on this market, and just to get a sense of where price is in relation to yesterday's price action. Okay, so we'll go ahead and come back to this level, drag this across to the close here. And you can see that price is above, right? Oops. Let's see this range here. Right, so price is above our area of value here from yesterday, right? Although not dramatically so, right? You can see that price has been in some sort of range of late here on the 30-minute chart. Okay, so market probably is become, maybe certainly during the overnight, I could see how this market could have been maybe a little bit of a challenging market to trade, right? Looks like at the open here of the Asia session, let's go ahead and open that up and see. But if I look at the initial balance range here, across, let's say, Asia here. Okay, so we got a nice little bullish extension of the initial balance range. So fair amount of bullish sentiment during Asia. We came back to the area where we would expect to see buyers, and it held. Okay, so there obviously is indications that there are buyers in the market, but it's a bit more rangy than maybe we've experienced of late. Okay, in this market, taking a look at the London market. All right, looking at London, we had a little bit of an extension here to the downside. Okay, the sellers weren't very strong because it allowed price to get back inside the initial balance range. And now the question becomes, can price hold above the initial balance low? Because if it can hold above the initial balance low and we get let's say a break or a price event that's aligned with the general direction of the market or general direction of price, then we have maybe an opportunity for an extension here to the upside. But we need to hold, right? We need to hold this level, right? We need to hold initial balance low and create that price event. Okay, so I would say right now, okay, we're seeing probably a little bit more in the way of range kind of price action. So and now we're kind of in the middle of the range. Again, holding this level here, London low, IB low, 4466.9 is going to be relatively important. And if we can't hold it, well, obviously we're going to revisit the lows here at 4454.3. So over the next, I don't know, 10 minutes or so for this current candle to close, it'll be interesting for me to see whether it closes below the initial balance range, okay, giving us maybe some indication maybe that there is some further downside to this move, or we break above this channel, okay, this bearish channel, and maybe restore the kind of bullish kind of swing that we experienced during London, okay, the tail end, or actually most recently in London. Okay, so right now I'm going to probably call this market more range, okay, more range than any particular direction at this point, because I see evidence of both in this market. I see overlapping price. Okay, so we're going to say that the market is in some sort of consolidation, and that I need some additional information, either breaks of high, making new higher highs or higher lows, breaks of initial balance ranges, something to indicate to me which direction participants want to take the market. Otherwise, I need to focus in. I need to continue to focus in on the extremes of the market. Okay, so 44.55, maybe as low as 44.44 on the buy side, and then on the sell side, looks like we're having a little bit of difficulty getting above 44.81.5. Okay, so until there is a definitive move in one direction or the other, we have to use range strategies when it comes to this market. Okay, all right, let's go ahead and turn our attention to silver. Okay, silver is showing a little bit more strength than gold at this point. Okay, so you can see here that we have a daily chart that looks to break some of these levels that we've drawn earlier, right? This is kind of right. So we closed the day rather bullish, and now we have a much more impulsive kind of move on the daily, right? Unlike the gold market, right? So it appears that we're creating some sort of ascending wedge pattern here. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and kind of highlight what I see here. Some sort of ascending wedge pattern in this market. Okay, and as long as we can hold maybe the low end of this wedge, right, then I would say that we continue to show signs of bullish price action. Okay, now we are at the top end of the range. I'm not really a fan to maybe entertain along at these levels, right? I would like to see maybe the market maybe come back and retest this lower trend line to offer me an opportunity to participate in this move to the upside. So I'm not inclined necessarily to pay a premium for a bullish trade. Okay, even though that I do see that there is evidence of bullish, I don't necessarily want to pay a premium. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the 4-hour chart. We're going to go ahead and turn off some of our initial balance ranges. You can see that price is developing a little bit in the way of a bullish engulfing candle up against our VWAP and above our 9 EMA. Again, showing some signs here that there is maybe some more upside opportunity in this market. Okay, we do have this 79.50 level above us that I guess historically has been resistant. We obviously have the 80 level and maybe as high as 81 that has served as kind of resistance to this market. But if I'm just looking at the most recent set of price action, I cannot deny the fact that the market appears to be in a bullish trend. Okay, taking a look at the 30-minute chart. Looking at the 30-minute chart, I'm going to go ahead and compare yesterday's price action with today here. Okay, so we'll go back to the start of the session. Here all the way to the close. Okay, so you can see that price is well above value. And again, I'm going to go ahead and mark this level because this level could serve as maybe a nice area to support a trade, in which case you can see how well price respected that level after it made this break above during the overnight session, right? So we got a nice break to the upside. Price came back down to the edge of value, so kind of a discount area. And what did we get? We got more buyers to kind of step into this market and drive it higher. Now I'm looking for a little bit of a discount. I'm looking for maybe another opportunity to participate in this market to the upside. Where's that location, you might ask? Well, I'm going to look at structure, right? Prior areas of breaks. Okay, so this area right here, this break of 78.30 appears to be kind of a logical level where I could expect to see some buyers, assuming that we can close this candle in a bullish direction. That would be a logical location, okay, for me to participate in this market to the upside. Taking a look at the initial balance range across the various markets. So we'll start off with Asia. Okay, and we'll open up Asia and see where price is in relation to Asia. And you can see that we had a very nice sustained move in Asia to the upside. very sustained, right? We got a break and we never look back, right? Didn't even maybe give us a really solid opportunity to participate in this move. Okay. All right. But very nice extension here to the upside. Looking at London. London also is in the process of providing us maybe an extension here to the upside. I can use the initial balance high. If this is going to indeed be a sustained auction to the upside, often price comes back to the area it left, in this case, 78.40. And this area could offer me a location to participate in the move to the upside. So I would say in comparison that silver feels and appears far more bullish than the gold market, and it might be a market that with appropriate amount of risk might be the market that we want to focus on today. Okay, all right, let's go ahead and now move on to. Well, actually, let's take a look here. I wanted to take a look at ADR here, just to see if there's still some room remaining on this upside move. And we're already up at the extremes here, okay? But we're up at the extremes very early in the session here. So I'm going to go ahead and adjust this initial balance range to cover today's session, okay? So today's session here, all right? Okay, so again, we seem to be in a very strong move, or actually bullish trend. We're up at a statistical range that could cause price to stall here. But the fact that we've kind of reached that level so early in the session leads me to believe that there's a possibility that we could indeed get a break, right? A break above and maybe move into some sort of sustained move. Now, if I do a little Fibonacci, and I like using a little Fibonacci to help support my targets, if this is going to be a measured move, right? So I take this candle, the low of this candle, go back to the high and go down to the low. Well, it's going to give me some forecasts of where price could go. So this is telling me that we have a reasonable chance of getting up to 80, 85 in this market, assuming that we continue this bullish trend to the upside. Okay. So headed into the session, I would have to remain bullish on the silver. All right. Let's go ahead and move on to the crude oil market. Looking at the crude oil market, I think we spoke yesterday during group coaching how I managed to secure a bullish trade in this market. We're starting to see some signs of bullishness or more directional kind of trading in this market. Let's take a look at the daily here. Let's turn off initial balance range here for a moment. Okay. Let's turn off our ADR. Okay. So you can see that a market is starting to give us some signs here that maybe it's picking up some bullish momentum here. Let's go ahead and remove some of our drawings here. But you can see that price is above, right? Price is above our 9 EMA, above our VWAP. And we're starting to see that price is starting to break above some of these moving averages. Price is starting to get above the 20, working its way above the 50, right? And if that happens, well, you see what price has done the last time we've been at the 50 level, right? It's reversed. Okay, so this could, if we are going to sustain to the upside, we need to see price get above the 50, and that could potentially lead us to the 100. Okay, so from 58.88 or say 59 all the way up to 60.40, 60.50. Okay, but we have to be cognizant of the fact that we still are technically in some bearish structure, while we are seeing some more bullish kind of price action. If I look at this, I still see that I can draw a trend line, right, that covers and touches a lot of the levels here, right? So in order for me to really embrace the bullish price action, obviously I need to see price get above this trend line and hold. Okay, we don't want to see something like this where price kind of peeks its head above the trend line and reverses in the opposite direction. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the 4-hour chart. Looking at the 4-hour chart, again, if we had nothing else to look at here, you can see, right, that price is starting to show some signs of bullish price action, right? We're above the 9. We're above the VWAP. We pulled back to the 9, right? And now we're developing a little bit of an indecision candle up at the high end of value for the range that I've described, okay? As I get more context, what impact, how does this volume profile change? Well, you see that we're still getting a lot of volume. A lot of volume is being traded up at the highs. What is that an indication of? Well, it's potentially an indication of acceptance of price at higher levels, right? When volume moves higher, that is an acceptance. That means that participants are accepting higher prices. All right. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. People are willing to pay, right? And they don't want to be left out from the move, right? Because otherwise, maybe I'll potentially ended up paying more. Correct. All right. So let's take a look here at the 30-minute chart. Let's take a look here at the fixed range volume profile. Let's take a and see here to start the session right here, and the close of the session right about here. Okay, so right about here. Okay, so again, folks are willing to pay a premium, but we are seeing a little bit of a slowdown in the momentum to the upside. Okay, on the 30-minute chart, right? It's not the most convincing volume that I've seen that indicates to me that, right? So we're seeing a little bit of overlap in price. So while the move is to the upside, it is not a move that is how we say with a lot of vigor, right? A lot of we are seeing a lot of in the way of overlapping price. The good thing, again, if I am bullish on this, I am still above the 9 EMA. So the 9 EMA is giving me indications that there's still some opportunity to the bullish side. Now, if I'm a buyer of this market, looking at this, I would say that I would probably be better served in waiting for price to come to a level where I can better manage my risk, right? Somewhere down in this 58.40 level would seem to be a logical level for that. We have this, I don't know how well, we have the midnight price here. Okay. That would be another logical level for maybe to look to maybe participate in this market. So I'll mark that level as well. So if I'm bullish, those would be a couple of levels that I would be looking for. Now, if I'm bearish in this market, well, I would say that, the whole number of 59, okay, could offer me the upper end of this channel, could offer me a location where I could take a reversal trade, right? Up at this level. Okay. Right now, I'm kind of in this kind of no man's land. I'm not seeing all that much in the way of conviction to the upside. Maybe if anything, I might be looking for an opportunity that would take me back to this level. But I do understand that, price folks and there was a number of folks that were willing to, pay pretty significantly to be a part of this market to the upside. So I'm going to say headed into the session that I'm I guess looking for bullish opportunities, but that I'm going to be looking for bullish opportunities in maybe a little bit more discount locations. Okay. So certainly breaks of initial balance, which we'll take a look at here in a moment. Here, that'll be the next thing I take a look at. Let's see if I can get to it. All right, here we go. All right, we'll start off with the Asia session, see what kind of participants we had in this market. Well, we had, for the most part, sellers in Asia, okay? Sellers in Asia. London came around. Again, this market is a London market, guys. I don't know what to tell you. If you're going to trade crude oil, London is where it's at. Now, one thing I will say though, even after this move to the upside, it really wasn't all that sustained. Honestly, right? While we continue to make higher highs and higher lows, it is not with a lot of effort. Okay, that we're making that happen. Okay, taking a look at the New York session or the start of the New York session. Okay, so we have a relatively tight range. So I personally would be more inclined to see if I can get some evidence from participants as to which direction they want to take the market, indicating to me which direction they want to go. So if I get a break of the initial balance range and we can hold above the initial balance range, then that would give me an opportunity to entertain a long trade. Okay. If we start to break below the 9 EMA and we start to break below, then I might be interested in a trade that would take me and maybe revisit the conviction of some of these buyers here below. But I would have to think whoever came in, okay, is not a retail buyer here. Okay, this is an institution that felt that 58 or 57.84 was a good level to buy. Oh yeah, that's definitely a whale, right? And if it's a whale, the expectation is that if price comes near that level, the whale's going to want to eat again. Okay. So this 58.14, 58.20, 58 level is probably going to be an area where we're going to see some buyers potentially step into this market. Okay. Up until then, the whales are at current levels, the whales are not interested. And we can see that in the price action, right? Whales are not interested they need some additional information to participate in this market. So what are they doing? Well, in the absence of anything else, well, they're just, continue to grind this market to the upside, right? At which point, maybe the opposing participants come in and step into the market. Okay. So for crude oil, I'm going to be very particular about location, right? I don't want to participate in an area where I'm seeing evidence of retail kind of, choppy kind of price, right? That's not an area I want to participate in. I want to demand areas where I see evidence of whales. I see evidence of bigger buyers and see if I can maybe participate in that move to the bullish side. Yes. Okay. Bullish zones, discount zones only. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and take a look at the, before we go there, guys, just want to kind of remind everyone if, again, in order to continue to provide this content, as I obviously need your support, certainly want to thank the support of those who have very supported me and continue to support me. But again, as I look at the like indicator and the participants, there is a little bit of a delta here. So I do need to encourage you guys to hit the likes. Yeah, pay your tax, right? That's all I'm asking you to do is pay your small tax to allow me to continue to provide this analysis and content to you on a daily basis, because your continued investment allows me to invest further into this channel, right? Allows me to, open this channel up, maybe possibly during the session, right? But without that kind of consistent support, that limits my ability here, okay? All right. With that said, let's go ahead and move on to the equity markets. All right. Looking at the equity markets, looking at the daily chart, you can see that we are in a market that's coiling. Okay. Nothing, I'm not going to sugarcoat this. It's a market that doesn't really know exactly which direction to go. Okay. It's looking for some sort of catalyst as to which direction they want to take. Now, are we making higher highs and higher lows? Well, of late, no, right? The most recent swing has been to the downside, and we have not managed to get above 25,880. So we're still inside a bearish swing. So I have to respect the fact that there is still sellers in this market. I do see a market that's in a range, again, indicating that there is no real aggressive buying or selling going on at this moment in time. Okay. So let's go ahead and take a look at the 4-hour chart. 4-hour chart is telling us much of the same. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the initial balance range. I'm going to go ahead, and this is probably going to be illustrated pretty nicely using the DMI indicator, right? You can see here, right? There's no distance between the positive DI and the negative DI. So what is that telling us? It's telling us that we are in a pretty serious range, right? And a very tight one at that, right? No conviction in either direction. And what is the ADX telling us? Whatever direction we can even define, it's weak. Okay. No. And this has been the case. We've seen momentum fall ever since the close of the year. Okay. We've been in this kind of falling momentum. Okay. Now we've waffled on the negative and the positive, but the momentum itself has been weak. All right. So no real committed direction. Just because the price is moving down and we see our ADX is independent of price movement. ADX, if we are in a move that isn't our direction, we want to see this. We want to see our positive DI align with in a positive direction with our ADX indicator. This is the kind of indications that we want to be a part of. These are the kind of markets we want to be a part of, not the markets that are dropping in momentum and not able to give us any sort of indication as to which direction they want to take. So it's basically telling us that we need to wait. We need to wait for price, or we need to wait for participants to tell us which direction they want to take this market. Okay, taking a look at the 30-minute chart. Okay, again, we continue to coil. Right, we're in the middle of this swing. We reached the midnight level. Marie, there it is. Midnight level reached. Okay. We still have the open of the New York session, right? No conviction either way, right? We have the midnight level up above here. So if we open below this level, the midnight level up strategy tells us that there's a good chance that we will reach that level again. Okay. Right. Because from the looks of it, looks like we're going to open below it. Right. It respected that midnight level as expected. It appears that price is going to open below it again. And based on the strategy, that's telling us that there's an opportunity that we revisit that level. Now, again, this is not really a huge opportunity, right? Something from 25,608 up to 25,644. But it is something that where I can manage my risk, right? I can maybe take on a trade, maybe below these candle wicks, looking for an opportunity that will take me back up to these levels. Okay, the midnight level in particular. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at the fixed range volume profile, and let's compare that with current price action. All right, so we're going to take a look at this. So we'll start with the open here and into the close. Okay, so again, if no surprise here, right? Price is inside a range. Okay, inside a range. So again, range rules apply here, right? If I'm going to participate in this market, right? If I'm going to participate in this market, I need to wait for the extremes of this market. Okay, range rules apply here, right? I'm a seller up here. I'm a buyer down here. Okay. And I'm not a participant in the middle. Simple as that. Seller up here, buyer down here until we can get into a definitive trend. All right. Let's go ahead and take a look. Actually, I was going to maybe pop. Let's take a quick look here at the initial balance ranges across these various markets. All right. Here. Okay, let's start off with the Asia session. Okay, Asia actually offered us a pretty nice move to the upside. I don't know what happened here. This almost feels like a news event, but some whales came in during London, right? And whatever they saw, they weren't happy with. Okay, and created a very wide initial balance range during London, right? Very difficult. It's going to be very difficult for price to extend this range, right? We moved from 25,646 all the way down to 25,527, a 120-point move. Okay, so I don't know what caused this move, but this was a whale sighting. Okay, this was a whale sighting, right? Now I often use Bigfoot, but whales is also a good term. All right, this was a whale sighting. So again, the expectation is that if this was a whale and they were serious about taking this market lower, then obviously whales could be present up here at 25,660, 25,667. Okay. All right. So market that's in range. All right. Let's take a look here at turn this off here for a moment. Let's turn on ADR. I suspect that ADR, if it's not broken, it's in the middle. Okay, so so how much more do you need, guys? We're in the middle of the range, right? This is not a place I want to be. Okay, if I'm a seller, let me be up here. If I'm a buyer, let me be down here. And otherwise, I need to sit on my hands, right? This is kind of a hands-off area for me. Okay, not an area that I want to be a part of. All right, a lot of indecision going on in this area. Okay, all right. Let's go ahead and turn our attention to ES to see if that maybe ES is offering us a little bit more in the way of conviction. And unfortunately, it appears it's doing the same. Okay, it's a market that is in some sort of range, some sort of consolidation here. Okay, now maybe a little maybe a tad more bullish. Okay, just because of the fact that we did manage to break above the structure here and create a new high. Okay, we did breach it and close inside it, got a little bit of an indecision candle here and managed to break above it. So I would say that this 69 12 69 69 12 69 15 level, I would say, is a relatively important level, I think, for the bulls to maintain in order to have any sort of aspirations. But this is, again, as we kind of move into the other time frame charts, this kind of looks like a market that, again, similar to what we were saying in the NASDAQ, it appears to be a market that's kind of coiling here, right? So looking at this, I'm seeing, kind of a flag pattern of some sort, right? I don't know if this is kind of consolidating, but I do see a little bit of a tight range here, right? This will probably become a little bit more evident as we move lower here. Okay, taking a look at the 30-minute chart again, you can see that if you can again, one of my mentors told me one day at one point, if you can maintain price in a box, you're in a range, right? If you can draw a box and contain price, right, then you're in a range, right? And this is by definition a range. Okay, I don't know if this is necessarily a tradable range, but a range, it's a range nonetheless. Okay, we're not creating higher highs and higher lows. We are remaining in this kind of range, kind of price action. All right. All right, taking a look at the fixed range volume profile, I suspect it's going to tell us the same kind of things that we were just kind of discussing here. Kind of opening this up here, dragging this across to the close here. Now you can see that we are in range, although on the lower end of the range. We did manage to close below this range, but what did we find? We found some buyers, and they managed to get price back inside the range. Okay, inside the value range from yesterday. Now the question is do they have the participation, or do they have the participants to drive the price higher? Because again, right, with this candle, there is a whale sighting, right? Somebody came in during London and did not like what they saw, right? Now the question becomes, are they going to revisit? Are they going to come back? As price comes back into these areas, is the whale going to come back in and drive price lower, right? Again, I'm going to be looking, for some indication of that, right? So I need to see some channel break and hold, right? Right now, we're getting wicks on the bottom end of this channel, right? Indicating that there is maybe some interest to buy, right? This whale did attract some other whales to come in and protect this area. The question is, are there enough of them to continue to drive price to the upside? Okay, let's take a quick look here at the initial balance ranges across the various markets, just to give us kind of a feel here of what each session was able to do. Starting off with the Asia session, you can see that the market again was able to take the market higher during Asia, only to what appears to be either a news event or something take place here during London or just prior to London to cause the market to sell off. Okay, so here we are. Now we are in a very large initial balance range during London. So again, not really interested in participating in the middle of the initial balance range. Again, this is a no-fly zone for me, okay? A no-swim zone for me, okay? Not interested here. If I want to participate, okay, one area, if I'm a seller, is up at the 69.55 level. I'm a seller there. I might be a buyer down at 69.30. Those are the areas that I'm going to be focused on. Otherwise, I'm with Nasdaq, just sitting on my hands. Okay, let's take a look at the last market before we do one final pass across all the markets. We'll start off with the daily chart here in the Dow. Okay, again, we got a nice candle here to break an extension, make a new high. Okay, now the question is, can we hold above that? Okay, that would, again, so this level here around 49,060, okay, it could be an interesting level. If we do manage to hold it, that could provide us maybe some more upside. But we are paying a premium, right? At these levels, we are paying a premium if we are a buyer, right? So I think there's probably better location in order to participate in this move, okay, to the upside. Taking a look at the 4-hour chart. All right, we're going to go remove some of my drawings here. We're going to collapse some of these. Actually, turn off initial balance here. Okay, so you can see, right, we are above our 9 EMA, but below our VWAP. Okay, so kind of a little bit mixed here. If I open up my ribbons say maybe there's more upside, right? I see price. I see the 20 crossing above the 50, right? I see, you know, some EMA crosses or SMA crosses that are taking place here. Okay, so that could be an indication that there is a little bit of momentum here to the upside. But again, I'm not really interested in paying a premium price, and I probably need to see more in the way of some conviction in that direction. All right, taking a look at that 30. Looking at the 30-minute chart, you can see that we have, again, we're kind of in the middle of the ranges. If I draw in my fixed range volume profile and start with the start of the London session or start of the Monday session and drag that across to the close here, okay, you can see that we're on the low end of value. Technically, we are below value. Okay, so indicating that that there may be some folks that are maybe interested in taking this market lower, okay, on the shorter time frame, right? So we see price is below our value area low. So rather than necessarily think about buying, maybe there's an opportunity that will take us down to this ADR low here at 48,900, 48,922, okay? That's kind of what I'm seeing here with the fixed range, is that it's giving me more of a bearish kind of sentiment here. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look here at the initial balance range for the various sessions. We'll start off with the Asia session. Asia session really didn't offer us much of anything. We were kind of in a very tight range, and then London came in, and London was far more interested in taking this market lower. Right now we're inside this range. Really nothing for me to do unless we explore or have price come into some of these levels again, at which point I can maybe take an opportunity or an execution in alignment with the general direction. Now, just as we discussed in the other markets, right? Some whales came in to the short side. Okay, that's something that we need to be aware of during London. Some whales came in to the short side. Are those whales going to continue to drive price lower? That's the question that we need to ask. That's the thing that we need to get continued evidence on as we approach the U.S. session. All right, let's take one final pass across all the various markets here. Okay, we see that. Let's take a look and make sure that I'm in the U.S. session here with my initial balance. All right, because I know that we're in range in London. Okay, we're also in range, although about to close the initial balance range for the gold here in a minute. But I see a market that is in some sort of consolidation, some sort of range here. Okay, we're in range in London. and currently in range as the start of the US session. Silver, on the other hand, we're showing some signs of strength. Okay. We are, I think, above our London range, right? Working our way above our London range. So we'll just kind of confirm that. Okay. Indicating that there is maybe some interest in taking this market higher, right? You see that London did close above this range. Now we're up at the highs. Again, 78.40 is kind of a level that I'm kind of looking at to see if maybe it offers me an opportunity to take a trade to the upside. Crude oil market also showing some signs of some strength. Okay. London price is above. US still creating our initial balance range. Okay. But it is to the upside. Okay. Okay. So again, I might be looking for some opportunities to the upside, but I'm going to demand better pricing. Okay. I'm going to demand extremes of price. I don't want to be a buyer at the high end of value. If I'm going to be a buyer, let it be at the low end of value. If anything, I'm a seller here. Okay. But I do see that we had some whales come in to the buy side. So when the whales say buy, well, I need to figure out a way to buy. Okay. Equities. Now we were seeing a lot of consolidation. I think we continue to see a little bit of consolidation. Again, I'm going to be waiting for some extreme levels here to kind of look to see maybe I can participate in this market. I do have this 25,680 level in the NASDAQ that could prove to be a resistance zone. I am seeing some price action that would indicate that maybe there is a little bit of upside, but what I don't like is that we're still kind of in the middle of the range here. Okay. I am getting some evidence that maybe price could head higher. I have that midnight level, which I expect to be tested here during the US session. So again, I would say that probably the prudent thing to do in this market is to wait and see which committed direction they want to take this market. Okay. Same for the ES. Okay. It does appear that maybe we are working our way through maybe some of the single prints that this whale left. But I'm afraid that this seller is lurking up here at these levels here. Okay. And that he could come back and revisit the possibility of maybe taking the opportunity to add to their portfolio and maybe continue to kind of work their way price down here. Okay. So again, middle of the range, probably need some more evidence here. Oh, I know I need more evidence in order to kind of look to participate in this market. Looks like the market just opened here. So we'll just have to wait and see how we kind of establish this range here, initial balance range. I would say the same here for the Dow, although the Dow is probably showing a little bit more weakness than say some of these other markets here. Okay. Showing me a little bit more weakness than the other equity markets. So, so with that, again, gold in range, silver showing some signs of bullish, crude oil also showing some signs of bullish, equity markets, NASDAQ and ES certainly in range, Dow maybe showing a little bit of weakness to the downside. Okay. So with that, guys, again, I will close this session as we close most sessions, and that is to trade well, to trade safe, to trade like a pro, and to be a market trader. All right. Have an excellent day trading, guys. If you have not already hit your likes, if you've not left your comment in the portal, be sure to do that. Otherwise, have an excellent day trading today, and we'll talk again soon.